Hi, Dr. Reagan Robertson, CCO of Productive Dentist Academy here, and I have a question for you. Are you finding it hard to get your team aligned to your vision, but you know you deserve growth just like everybody else? That's why we've created the PDA Productivity Workshop. For nearly 20 years, PDA workshops have helped dentists just like you align their teams, get control of scheduling, and create productive practices that they love walking into every day. Just imagine how you will feel when you know your schedule is productive, your systems are humming, and your team is aligned to your vision. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy. We can help. Visit productivedentist.com/workshop. That's productivedentist.com/workshop to secure your seats now.
You know, we hear culture a lot. What's your culture? What is your tribe? You know, what are the things that you believe in? What are your whys? Those are all super important, and it's really hard to do that when you can't govern your emotions. When you blow up and then you have to go apologize to people. How do I know this? Because I did it for years. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Bruce B. Baird, and you're listening to the Productive Dentist Podcast. In this podcast, I will give you everything that I've learned over the last 40 years in dentistry, working with thousands of dentists. I'll tell you, it's not that my way is the only way. It's just one that has worked extremely well for me, and I'd love to share that with you so you too can enjoy the choices and lifestyle that productivity allows. More time for things you love, increased pay, better team relationships, and lowered stress. Let's get into it with this week's episode of the Productive Dentist Podcast. Hi, this is Dr. Bruce Baird with the Productive Dentist Podcast, and this is episode 116. Really excited about this topic that I'm going to talk about today. And why am I so excited about it? Because it's the one thing that early in my career, I had the most difficulty. I just had extreme difficulty, and that's governing my emotions. How do I control my emotions? I've told you guys the story about the smiley face and the frowny face in our break room. And when I walked in the door, they would put this smiley face up if I was in a good mood. And if I was in a bad mood, they'd put the frowny face up for everyone to see. And, you know, that was them basically reaching out and saying, help, you know, because how productive is your practice going to be when the first thing when you walk in, they put a frowny face up for you, you know? And I'm Scotch Irish. You know, and for many years in my life, I just assumed that I had all the characteristics of a Scotch Irish. You know, I love being Scotch Irish. Don't get me wrong, but you know, the Irish temper. You know, well, I've just got the temper. You're just going to have to deal with it. In other words, it was just me. That's just the way I handle things. Is I lose it. You know, I will not say anything. I will not have a crucial conversation with another person because I don't like conflict until it gets so heavy that I finally explode. So I'm like a walking time bomb. And I was like that until I was probably 35 years old, 38 years old. If somebody said something to me that I didn't like, I would get in your face. I was one of those kind of guys. I just, you know, again, my Marine upbringing, my dad being that Marine aviator, you know, it was like my way or the highway. But at some point in time, I had to start to learn to govern my emotions, how to self-reflect. Nowadays, the older I've gotten, that starts to become it to me now becomes very easy. But I wasn't able to do it until I put down this, well, I'm Irish, so it must be that this is the way I am. In other words, this is just, if you think you're this way because of any other outside influence, self-evaluate. Look at yourself and say, am I really this person that blows up at people? Because if you see me on the golf course, I'm a caring, loving person. Or if you see me at the mall, or if you see me up at the grocery store, I'm an outgoing, gregarious person, and I love visiting with patients. I've told you I love working on my friends. I love having a team that are friends. But for years, I literally was just ingrained with this. This is the way I was raised, so it has to be. Love is a Choice is a great book. I would tell you, if you grew up a child of an alcoholic, it's a book that can free you. It's a book that can actually give you information to tell you that you're the way you are, not because of what's happened in the past, although there's some of that, but you're who you are because you're allowing that to be who you are. And having those, governing those emotions. How do I do that as a leader in my practice? Yes, I was never an instrument thrower, but I would be upset when a patient was upset. If a patient wasn't being treated, remember, I wanted to have the model practice. I wanted it to be the perfect practice, although there is no such thing. And today, I put the handpiece up 24 months ago, but today I still work with the office up there just because I want it to be a model office. I don't go in and do treatment, but I kind of help support that vision of that model practice. But you have to conduct yourself in a different way. I've talked about it a couple podcasts ago with legendary leadership, how to be that legendary leader, and those are all things that are going to be extremely helpful for your business, but they're also going to be the things that grow your business. They're going to be the things that change the culture. We hear culture a lot. What's your culture? What is your tribe? What are the things that you believe in? What are your whys? Those are all super important, and it's really hard to do that when you can't govern your emotions. When you blow up, and then you have to go apologize to people. How do I know this? Because I did it for years. And you know what? There's so many great books out there. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff. If there was a major disaster, and think about this and think, does this sound anything like you? If there's a major problem, somebody choking on a bone, somebody having a heart attack, somebody in extreme duress, I'm the guy you want, because I can coordinate. I can make the phone calls. I can do the CPR. I'm the one who you want to be there. I don't lose my mind in those situations. I become hyper focused, and I'm here to help. I'm going to help take care of you. I'm that person. But if you forgot a mirror on the exam tray, I would go nuts. That's where I would lose it. It was the little things that would cause me to lose it. And I'm like, why is this? Why is this? And that's where that book, Love is a Choice, and it doesn't matter if you're an adult child of an alcoholic. I think it has great input. Another one that gives great input is Love, Love and what is the book? I'm sitting there looking at Love and Respect. It's another great book. You can look it up. Love and Respect. Men want respect. Women want love. And when you read the book, you're going to go, oh my gosh, I wish I'd have heard this 20 years ago. But you are accumulation of everything that you allow to go in your brain, everything that you read, everything that you do. You can change your state instantly. You can change, like if I'm in a bad mood and somebody comes to me, and my team has learned, they have learned, and I do the same thing with them. They have learned if I'm come in and I'm stressed, and they know it. I mean, you can look at me and you know when I'm stressed. And they go, hey, Dr. B, are you okay? Is everything okay? I call that confrontational management. They come to me and say, are you okay? And I go, oh, yeah, I've got this going on. Yeah, I am. Thank you so much for just asking. I'll do the same thing to them. Gay, are you okay? You seem really stressed today. Well, something happened to little Jerry, and I had something come up. I've got a super bad headache. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's get you some aspirin. Why don't you go upstairs turn the lights off, get it dark, get in that massage chair, and just take an hour. We'll be okay. So it's you've got to be able to have people around you that can make you the best version of yourself. Does that make sense? It's like, if you're a team, you're truly a team. Cynthia, my wife, is amazing. She knows when something's bothering me, like, and I don't let things bother me to where I have outward bursts anymore, but I'll get introspective. I might not sleep good. I've got something on my mind. She'll bring it up and we'll discuss it. So as a leader, it's easier to govern my emotions because I know what's at stake in the practice. But if I've got a team that also knows what's at stake, am I asking them to govern their emotions? They do it because they're part of this team that is working together. And we all have the ability to be able to go to them and say, are you okay? Wouldn't that be wonderful in any business you're in? If you're having a bad day and one of your team members comes up and says, are you okay? I was just worried about you. You seem so stressed out. What can I do to help? Now, when you get into an environment like that, we're Productive Dentist Academy. That's what we do. We teach dentists to be productive. But in order to be productive, you've got to be able to control these emotions that you have. And I'm doing that by confrontational management. I'm helping my team also be able to deal with their upsets, their angers, their things that aren't working well. And sometimes that might be a system that we have in the office that's just not working the way it should work. And they may bring that up to me. Well, I just hate the way we do this, that, or the other. And I say, you know what? Let's evaluate that. What I'd love for you to do, if you could, can you come up with some other thoughts on that and talk to Summer and talk to Tamara? Let's come up with some other thoughts of how we could eliminate that stress that you're having. That's that training model, training mode, or training opportunity. And those are things that can really, really, really help you. Ultimately, this comes down to taking great care of the patient, taking care of excellence. In other words, you want this place to be a place where when people come in, your people aren't stressed. Their main concern, they are now the patient advocate. Everybody in my office is a patient advocate. We all want the patient to win. And if we end up with that kind of an attitude, that all of us want the patient to win, and we're going to do anything we can to help that patient win, guess what? Productivity takes care of itself. You don't have to worry about productivity when everybody takes care of themselves. It's just what it is, okay? And now you have patients who, when they leave, it's like leaving family. It's like leaving friends, because they are our friends. We've built that kind of business together. And it's, I call it governing our emotions, but it could also be called reflections. As you get older, you start to reflect a lot. I'm glad I am where I am. I'm glad I've done the things that I've done. I really wouldn't change anything. I wish I would have been better in relationships, better at communication, better at all those things early on in my career. But I don't know many people who can't say that. All of us wish. But it's reflecting and changing. It's reflecting on, why did this happen? And realizing that many things that happen to you happen to you because of you. And the way we deal with relationships and the way we deal with communication skills. And so I tell you, step back, always be evaluating situations that cause you stress. And are you a part of it, or are you not a part of it? If it's something that two people in the office are having a problem, that's not necessarily you causing the problem, but you can help them. You can help them better communicate. You can put systems in play that better communicate. So these are all things that, to me, play a critical role, an absolutely critical role in having, are we going to call it a productive and profitable practice, or a great place to work that also happens to be productive and profitable, to levels that people who aren't doing this are what I would call average and below, people who do the things that we've talked about, aren't average. These are uncommon practices. They're practices that once they realize what's going on in their business and how to handle their own emotions and how to help their team handle their emotions, all of a sudden you have a practice that was doing 800,000 that's now doing 3 million a year. And more important to me, if a practice is doing 3 million, they're helping more people than a practice doing 800,000. That's the way I look at it. They are helping more people get their oral health. And the more I can communicate and the better we can do, the better off we are. Anyway, Dr. Bruce Baird, Bruce at productivedentist.com. Please send me a message if you have any messages. I would love to, or any questions, please send it. It'll be part of a podcast. So tell your friends about Productive Dentist Podcast, and I hope to see you soon. We have got the Productive Dentist Workshop coming up very quickly. So I hope you can join us in Dallas. The pricing we've actually reduced the pricing post-COVID. We want to help more docs get to where they want to be, and we know we can do it. So I look forward to seeing you guys in Dallas. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Productive Dentist Podcast. If you found this episode helpful, make sure you subscribe. Pass it along to a friend. Give us a like on iTunes and Spotify, or drop me an email at podcast@productivedentist.com. Don't forget to check out other podcasts from the Productive Dentist Academy at productivedentistpodcast.com. Join me again next week for another episode of the Productive Dentist Podcast.